Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about dungeon mastering, Dungeons and Dragons, like Joe Rogan manages an interview. All right. So I was watching Joe Rogan, and he was talking to a guest. I'm not even going to say what guest it was, because he does this with many guests. I've seen him do it many times, but it really struck me. Like when I saw him do it, I was like, oh man, that's powerful, right? And it's a powerful technique that we should absolutely be using as dungeon masters. So Joe Rogan is quite literally the most powerful interviewer in the world. Right now, this is not a joke, you can go find 1,000 articles about an interview that never happened, which is Joe Rogan not interviewing Donald Trump. It would be it would give Donald Trump 5 to 15 points in the general election if Joe Rogan interviewed him. You know how I know that? Because I was a big fan of Andrew Yang, and Joe Rogan put Andrew Yang on the map. Nobody would listen to him. He did one Joe Rogan interview, and the whole world came running, right? Interviews, the whole nine, right? And really helped. Andrew Yang is doing great today. He did not become president, but he is living a robust life with fame, wealth, and momentum because of Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan is extremely powerful. He is literally the best interviewer in the world. So how does he do that? Because, and I'll tell you I'm going to tell you how he interviews. Everything he does to get the interviews he gets is exactly what we need to be doing as dungeon masters. So let me walk you through. So step one, total, joyful, comfortable respect. Okay. So first of all, why did Joe Rogan never interview Donald Trump? He doesn't respect him, in my humble opinion. That's the entire reason. Nor should he, right? And so Joe Rogan doesn't invite people he doesn't respect to the table, right? Like, if he thinks you're an abominable human, you're not going to show up at it. You're not going to get an invite. And I would really challenge you to, to show me a guest that he didn't fundamentally respect. So first of all, as dungeon masters, if we don't respect a person, we don't invite them to the table, period. Okay? That's step number one. Once they arrive at the table, it's nothing but kindness and generosity, right? To a point. So especially when we start and when we end, it's kindness and generosity. There's a little bit of a push in the middle. We'll get there, okay? All right, so when they arrive, you have nice amenities for them. Joe Rogan has drinks. Smoking is a big deal to him. I don't smoke. I never have. It's no big deal to me. But he loves cigars, and he has, whatever the guest wants, right? So he has amenities, whatever the guest wants. And honestly, I definitely think you should try to do this for your Dungeons and Dragons game. I make sure that the fridge is stocked, and I'm like, get whatever you want out of the fridge while we're going. Anything that's sealed. That's an easy way. I could say, hey, get anything that's sealed in the fridge. That means drinks, that means yogurts, like chips, whatever they want to get, right? And I love this sealed thing because I can even put, anything in the house that's sealed, right? It's a very easy, it's one of the ways and that way I'm not going to worry about what you get, right? But you can get whatever you want, right? And Joe does this. He all right. And so it's kindness and tolerance and respect and provision when you arrive and when you leave. Now, this is what gets interesting. When he starts an interview, he's like, yeah, I love these ideas. I love your ideas. I've read your book. Oh, that's a great idea. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. Wait. You said in your book XYZ. But what about this? And I'm not sure that's right? So he starts by drawing you in, building trust, right? But in the middle, he's not rude, but he will press you. He will challenge your ideas, right? And he will ask you banger questions, right? Stuff that is dangerous to you, that will really challenge you intellectually, ethically, empathetically, emotionally, right? And that's exactly what we need to be doing as dungeon masters, right? We draw them in, we build trust, right? But once we have that trust, this is Joe Manganiello was having elevated conversations. Let's have difficult conversations in the middle of a narrative, right? We're going to press people. We're going to press them ethically, intellectually, empathetically, maybe even spiritually. We're talking about spiritual issues in the middle. Every single Dungeons and Dragons setting ever published, with the exception of Dark Sun, and frankly, I think that's one of the reasons why it's not in 2014 D&D, right? 2014 to today D&D, is has deities, right? So spiritual is right there. So Rogan is brilliant. He is such a brilliant interviewer, and everything he does to receive people at his table is exactly what we should be doing. And frankly, what is the difference between what he's doing and what we're doing? Literally, everything he has and everything he's provisioning is you need a table, you need a DM, and you need one player, one Dragon Master. You need a Dungeon Master or one Dragon Master. The only thing missing from Joe Rogan's interviews is dice. You put dice on a map in there, you're 10 feet away from a D&D game, right? So everything he's doing to make these incredible interviews is every single thing we need to do to make incredible campaigns. Dungeon Master, the way Joe Rogan interviews. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.